Okay, you will just give me a synopsis of what you have read till now in the story.
Okay.
Yes.
Horace Denby, who was
Yes.
made locks or successful enough at his business.
Right.
He he had a show. He had a show up to
He was making locks. So what would you call him, Anmol? I told you
locksmith.
locksmith. So use these words, right? Horace Danby, a 50-year-old bachelor, was a locksmith, right? Now you see that when you are using such words, like instead of saying unmarried, you are using bachelor. So your answer is very precise and you are saving words also. Okay. Yes. So he was a locksmith, he was bachelor. What was his reputation in the society?
Sorry, ma'am.
What was his reputation in the society?
Horace Denby was a good and honest citizen.
Was he honest?
No, he is not totally honest because he's fond of reading books, expensive books that he can't afford. So he did robbery for that.
Okay. I got it what you want to say. How you would present it, you would say he was good and respectable man in the society, but not an honest person. When we say not an honest person, not because he had a hobby of reading rare and expensive books. He was not honest because he used to rob. He used to commit robbery and he used to steal just in order to fulfill his desire of reading books, right? So reading book was not wrong. Buying expensive book was not wrong. But the means he has chosen to buy the books, that was wrong. Is that clear? So do remember and do be clear about it, because there can be a question that can confuse you about this. So you have to be very clear where he was wrong. His intent was not wrong because he wanted to spend on buying books. But the means he had chosen, the ways he had chosen, that was wrong, and that made him a dishonest person. Otherwise, by nature, he was not dishonest. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so please be careful about it, okay? Anyway, how did he get into the house? Which house did he break into?
Shotover Grange, in Shotover Grange.
Right. What plannings, what preparations did he make before he entered the house?
He had been studying the house and looking at its rooms, its wirings, electric wirings, its
Okay.
gardens.
Okay. So when he entered, what do you know? That what were the things he was already familiar with?
He was familiar that they have a dog, and the family was not at the home at that
Right.
time.
Okay, fine. What was the dog's name?
Sherry.
How do you know it was Sherry?
Horace
Right. Horace called him Sherry. So it means that he was familiar with the name of the dog to appear to be friendly with the dog. He knew the family had gone to London. He knew that only two servants were looking after the house, but they had gone to see movie for 4 hours. He knew that the house had been keeping 50,000 pounds worth jewels. He knew where the safe was located. So he had done all this homework, right? But he had one problem. What was it? That had sometimes been obstructing his plan.
His hay fever and
His
tickling
hay,
in nose.
right. His hay fever and tickling in his nose, right? Anyway, when he entered, when he just uh, unfolded and unpacked all his tools and arranged them to use them, at the same time, there had been a voice referring to him, addressing him. It was a female voice, right? Who do you think the woman was?
Maybe owner of the house,
Maybe the owner of the house. Why we think that she was the owner? She must be the owner of the house.
because she was at home and that she already mentioned that everyone thinks I'm in London, but I'm at home at correct time.
Okay. What it is, because the lady appeared to be very friendly, however firm, but friendly. In a very friendly and polite way, she started giving him advice, right? So that make us feel that the lady must be the landlady of the house, right? There are a few other things that we learn about, which also makes us feel that the lady must be the landlady of the house. Now, what are these things? Let us see. Yes, start reading, please.
It was quite kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. She was young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there.
Straightened, straightened. Yes, repeat.
Straight, straightened
Right. Yes, carry on.
the ornaments there. Down, Sherry, she said. Anyone would think I had been away for a month. She smiled at Horace and went on. However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar.
Carry on, carry on.
Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. He replied, I didn't expect to meet one of the family. She nodded. I see what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do? Horace said, my first thought was to run. Of course, you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them all about you. They they would get you at once.
Yes. Now, one thing here, a little bit away from the chapter, but I would like to say that you read the dialogues very well, Anmol. So, what I was thinking, are you participating in the dramatics in the school?
No, ma'am.
You must. Okay. The school must be conducting some English plays also. Do they?
No, ma'am.
They don't? Okay, does not matter. Even in Hindi plays also you can participate, right? With those children who are participating in dramatics, they always are skilled at language also. And that builds up a different kind of confidence in you. All right? So whenever there are such activities, you must participate, okay? Yes. Now it was a quiet and kindly voice. Why we presume? What makes us think that the lady was a landlady, the owner of the house? Because she was quiet, friendly, but one with firmness in it. Firmness, a little authoritative. The owner of the house, the landlady of the house, would definitely be authoritative because she is running the whole house. A woman was standing in the doorway and Sherry was rubbing against her. Sherry, the dog, also appeared to be friendly with the woman. Now, the dog appeared to be friendly with Horace also, and the dog is friendly with the woman also. So, this makes us think that the woman is the landlady. Now, there can be a question, on what basis did you think first that the woman is the landlady of the house? So these are the things. She was young, she was quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. She walked to the fireplace and she put all the ornaments that she had there. So when you saw with the woman with the ornaments, you thought that she is the landlady, the one who has the ornaments, and only the landlady or a person whom the house belongs can keep the ornaments and put them there, right? So how come this lady, she never appeared to be a suspicious character? Down, Sherry, she said, anyone would think I had been away for a month. And then she smiled at Horace. She gave a statement which actually she does not need to give. She just addressed Sherry again. Why? To give an impression to Horace Danby that the house belongs to her, as she is friendly with Sherry. And she said, anyone would think I had been away for a month. She is giving an indication to Horace Danby that you thought that she had been away for a month. She would not come back. So when she says anyone would think, meaning Horace Danby would think, because he's a stranger, that she was away. That's why he had the liberty to walk into the house. She smiled at Horace and went on. However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar. She said, anyway, I just came in time. And when I came to the house, I was not expecting that I would meet a burglar, I would meet a thief. Because she found Horace Danby as a thief, yes. The way he had unpacked his tools, that clearly indicates that he was a thief, a burglar. So she says that she never expected that she would meet an encounter with a thief in the house. Now, would you like to comment on this when she says, I didn't expect to meet a burglar? Is she right to call Horace Danby as burglar?
Ma'am, as she saw, she was right.
Yes, that we also agree with this. She was right to call him a burglar. But you see, she herself is also a burglar, not the landlady of the house. Being a thief herself, telling another person as thief. So what is this statement? This statement is ironical. I didn't expect to meet a burglar. A burglar did not expect to meet another burglar. Right? When she says, I didn't expect to meet, I didn't expect, meaning that she tries to say that she is not a thief. She is innocent. So she never thought that there would be a burglar, there would be a thief in the house. Whereas when she herself is present in the house, means that a thief is already there in the house. I hope you understand what I am trying to tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
So this was ironical. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. Now here also try to understand. Horace had some hope of escaping. Horace thought that he would not be caught, but he would run away. He could easily escape from here because the lady seemed to be amused at meeting him, because the lady did not panic actually. Now you see that if I enter my house, right, and I find a burglar sitting there, what will I do? My first reaction would be panic. Oh my God, who are you? And then I would scream for help, right? I would raise an alarm to the people. But the lady did not do any such thing. Why she didn't do? Because she herself was a thief. But Horace Danby, he did not know, he could not read this. So he rather was hopeful that he could easily escape because the woman had not panicked. She had not reacted to his presence. Otherwise, she could scream, she could call police, but no, she did not do any such thing. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. He thought that he should be behaving well with the woman. If he behaves well with her, then he can avoid trouble. Which trouble? Trouble of being arrested. Then he can easily escape. If he behaves himself in front of the woman, then he can easily escape from there. He replied, I didn't expect to meet one of the family. He immediately responded to the woman, telling her that when he broke into the house, he also never thought that one of the family members would be there in the house. Why? Because he had already done the whole study, he had already done the recce, and he thought that the family was away. So he was not expecting that one member of the family would be there, but he found it. She nodded. I see what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. She says, oh, so you are feeling uncomfortable that you have met me. She is pretending herself to be the member of the family. She pretends herself to be the member of the house. What are you going to do? She asks. He's a thief, so what else would he do? What a silly question she's asking. What are you going to do? And Horace Denby very innocently said, my first thought was to run. I thought the moment I saw you, I thought I should run away from here. I should escape. Of course, you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them all about you, and they would get you at once. Now here the woman is showing her colors. Now she threatens him. She says, yes, he could run away. He could. But now he had not run, so he could not run because she is going to call the police. And she would inform the police about him, and then he would be arrested. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, carry on.
Horace said, I would, of course, cut the telephone wires first, and then he hesitated, a smile on his face. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. She looked at him seriously. You had hurt me.
You would hurt me.
You would hurt me. Horace paused and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. You didn't frighten me. Horace suggested, I would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go. The voice was suddenly sharp. Why should I? You were going to be rob me. If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you.
Ah,
Or
yes. Wait here. Horace said, I would of course cut the telephone wires first. Now you see that the moment the woman threatened, as long as she did not panic, Horace had also been chatting with her very patiently. But the moment she threatened him that she would call the police, he told her his plan that he is going to cut the telephone wires first so that she could not call anyone. Then he wore a smile on his face. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. He said, for some time, I would disconnect all these things. I would cut all the wires. And for a few hours, you will not be able to do anything. He had planned for a few hours. He had planned for 4 hours because for 4 hours he knew that the servants would be away. But now since the lady is very much there, so what to do? So he thought first he should cut the telephone wires. And the lady would not be able to call the police. And then he would get the time to search the safe. In fact, he didn't have to search and to unlock the safe. She looked at him seriously. You would hurt me? She wanted to be sure. Is he going to harm her? Or is paused, he stopped and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. He said, no, I don't want to harm you. But of course, I want to terrorize you. I want to frighten you by saying that for some time you cannot do anything. But the woman says, you didn't frighten me. I'm not afraid. Horace suggested, it would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me and let me go. He told the woman, he just told the woman to allow him to go. And she should not reveal the fact to anyone that she had ever seen him or she recognized him. She should not recognize, she should refuse to recognize him so that he could escape, he could run away. The voice was suddenly sharp, but the lady, she was not going to give up. She said, why should I? You are going to rob me. She is still pretending herself to be the lady of the house. Till the end, she would keep pretending that she is the lady of the house. But she is not the lady of the house. She is another thief. So what she is doing? Now she would take his help in opening the safe. And do you think that the jewels or the money lying in the safe would be given to Horace Danby?
No, ma'am.
No, she would keep with herself. But how smartly, how cleverly she does all that, giving him an impression that she is lady of the house, giving him an impression that she would allow him to go, but she needs his help, and she would get all the things done. And Horace Danby, who is a meticulous planner, how stupidly he is befooled by the woman. Yes, she says, you are going to rob me. You are here to steal me, to rob me. If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. She said, I cannot allow you to go. Because if you are freed from here, then you would go and rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you. Now, this statement is ironical. How is it ironical? Can you make out?
Ma'am, because the lady wants to say that the society must be protected from the men like you means the robbers like you.
Right, robbers like you. But how ironical this statement is? Because the lady herself is a thief. Right? If society must be protected from the thieves like Horace Johnby, don't you think that the society should be protected from the thieves like the lady herself? Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So here it is ironical that, see, look, the thief herself speaks for another thief, as if considering that the other man is the thief, but she is innocent. No, she is also thief. Yes, society must be protected, not only from men like Horace Danby, but definitely from the women also, like the lady who is pretending to be the lady of the house. I hope the statement is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Horace smiled. I am not a man who sorry. Yes, you please read.
Horace smiled. I am not a man who threatens society. I steal only from those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason, and I hate the thought of prison. She laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I am desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this kind of thing again. I really mean it. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, You are really afraid of going to prison? Aren't aren't are not
Aren't
you?
you? Aren't you? You see that are, when it is are, then we pronounce it as are. When it is the negative form, ar and apostrophe t, then we pronounce it as aren't. Say, aren't you?
Aren't you?
Right.
Carry on.
Yes, yes, yes. Tell people.
She came over him, shaking her head. I have always liked the wrong kind of people.
Yes. Horace smiled. I am not a man who threatens society. He tries to prove his innocence to the woman, telling her that he is not going to be harmful to the society. He says, yes, he is a thief, but he steals only the rich people. He would not rob any Tom, Dick, and Harry. He would rob only rich people because he has a good reason, he has a good cause for the robbery. And I hate the thought of prison. And he says that he doesn't like going to the prison. Who wants to be arrested? Who wants to go to the prison? Nobody. So this is what he said. I am afraid of being imprisoned. I am afraid of being arrested. The idea, this thought of prison haunts me. I don't want to go to the prison. That's why I want to run away. She laughed. She was laughing. She was mocking at him, making fun of him, but he begged. He pleaded to the woman to let him go, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I am desperate. He thought that he had persuaded her. He thought that he had convinced the woman and she would allow him to go. So he told her that he should not be asking her for anything, but he is desperate, he is helpless. So he should be allowed to go. And then he promises to the woman that he is in his future life, he is never going to rob anyone. I really mean it. Meaning what I said, I will be committed to my words. The woman was silent, watching him closely. She did not answer first. She just kept on observing him. Then she said, You are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? She wanted to be sure. Is the man so scared of being arrested and imprisoned? If the man is afraid, now you know what she would do? She would blackmail him. She would make a use of him for her own benefit. She came over to him shaking her head. I have always liked the wrong kind of people. When she gives this statement, here it is very open that the woman cannot be the lady of the house. She is definitely a wrong woman. Again, the statement is ironical. Why? Because she says, I have always liked the wrong kind of people. Wrong kind of people, she is referring to Horace Danby. Is she herself a right kind of people? Yes and no. Is she herself a right kind of people?
No, ma'am.
No. So the statement is ironical that she herself is a wrong kind of person and telling or describing the other person as a wrong kind of person. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, carry on, please.
She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. You will let me go? He held the lighter towards her. Yes, but only if you will do something for me. Anything you say. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them, but Horace smiled. You have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me, and you will have them within an hour. But I will have to break your safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month, and I will have the safe mended by that time.
Yes. Now, what the lady did, she picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Now, this is what she is trying to assure him. She is the lady of the house, right? The way she entered, the way she became friendly with Shari, and the way she had been talking, and the way she had some of the things she had been using, which did not raise any suspicion of the woman, which did not make Horace Denby feel that the woman is a suspicious character. He also thought that she was the lady of the house because she took out a silver box, she took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, he just took off his gloves and lit her cigarette. Why do you think he did this? Why did he light the cigarette for her? Why did he want to please her?
Ma'am, that ma'am, Horace Denby think that she would let his go.
Right. Because he wanted to escape. So he was hopeful. If he pleases the girl, if the woman, sorry, if he pleases the woman, if the woman is impressed, then she would let him go. Then he could easily escape. And in that hope and in that excitement, what happened? The gloves he was wearing, he took off his gloves. This is the mistake he had done. Now he could not make out that the woman was the landlady of the house or not. This again highlights what it is. Though Horace Danby has made lot of preparations for the robbery, he has studied the house very well. But do you think that he was familiar or he had known or he had seen the landlord and landlady of the house?
No, ma'am.
No, he had not seen them. He knew that they were away for London, but he didn't know them. He didn't know their faces. That's why he had mistaken the identity of the woman in the house as the woman of the house, the landlady of the house. So he just started making all efforts to impress her or to please her because he had to escape. And in that excitement, in that hope, in that endeavor, he just took off his gloves. And that's going to be very dangerous for him. You will let me go. He held the lighter towards her, helping her in lighting the cigarette. He asked her if she would allow him to go. Yes, but only if you will do something for me. Now she is bargaining. She said yes, she would allow him, but she needed his help. Anything you say. Oh, Horace is ready to offer anything. Why? Because he had to escape successfully. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank. This is how she narrates the story. Horace Danby had not seen the woman of the house. So he had to believe whatever the story she tells. So she says that her husband, he had promised her, she promised her husband to take her jewels to their bank. It is not a true story. She is making cock and bull story. She is making a false story by herself. But I left them here in the safe. Now you see that Horace Danby has come over there for what? For that safe only. Isn't it? He wanted to crack that safe.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
wanted to break, he wanted to unlock that safe only. And this lady is also talking about the safe. She said, I have left those jewels in the safe. How would a landlady of the house tell a stranger that she had a safe and she had kept those jewels in the safe? Do you think it happens?
No, ma'am.
No. And still Horace Denby was not suspicious about the woman. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them. She says that I have come to collect those jewels only because I have to wear it for the party. Horace smiled. You have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Actually, Horace Danby, he had no patience now. He was very eager. He just wanted to escape as soon as possible. So he had not been careful as he had been earlier. Instantly asked the woman, oh, so you have forgotten the code number? Nowadays, there are the suitcases, they have the code numbers, to lock them.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you forget the code number, then you cannot open the suitcase also. So he says that you have forgotten the code number of the safe? Yes, replied the young lady, because she wanted that actually. She wanted to open the safe actually. And when she found this burglar with the tools, she thought, why should she make an effort? This boy will do. And now, though she had the reason to blackmail him, otherwise he would be arrested, she would call the police. Just leave it to me, and you will have them within an hour, but I'll have to break your safe. He said, no problem. Because breaking the safe or opening the safe, opening the locks was not a problem for him since he had been dealing with this only, but he will have to break the safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month and I'll have the safe mended by that time. Mended by that time meaning repaired. She said, no problem. You can break the safe because my husband is away for a month. And before he comes back, I would get my safe repaired. And poor Horace Danby still could not understand the intentions of the woman because his own intention was very clear. Right, Anmol?
Yes, ma'am.
And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels, and gone happily away. It was no problem for him. Instantly, he opened the safe, took out the jewels, gave to the lady. The lady allowed him to go. Now, what it is, he could escape, and the lady had been successful. What do you think that Horace Denby has not been successful?
Sorry, ma'am.
Lady had been successful. And what do you think about Horace Denby? Do you think that Danby was also successful?
No, ma'am. He was not successful because he didn't drop the jewels for his books.
Right. He could escape successfully, but for how long, he does not know. But for the purpose he had come, he could not fulfill that purpose. He could not get the jewels. He could not get the money to buy the books. 2 days, he kept his promise to the kind young lady On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another safe. He had promised the woman that he was not going to rob anyone again, right? For 2 days, he had controlled himself. But the third day, he had that temptation to buy those books, which he wanted, but he didn't have the money to buy those books. And there was only the way to buy the books that he would have to rob another safe. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. He was thinking of a plan. He was thinking of a plan how to rob another safe, and he had to discover the place. Before that he could do, by noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover range. He had been arrested. Arrested for what? Arrested for the robbery from the safe at Shotover range. Do you think the jewels were robbed from the Shotover range?
Ma'am, yes, jewels were robbed at Shotover Grange, but by the lady.
By the lady. Definitely, Horace Danby, he had picked up, he had opened the safe, he had taken out those jewels, but he didn't keep them in his custody. He had given to the woman. Then why do you think that the woman had been free, but he was arrested?
Ma'am, because of his fingerprints on the
Right.
safe.
Yes, because he had removed, if you remember, he had removed his gloves while he was offering his lighter to her to light his cigarette. Right? He
Yes,
just forgot to wear his gloves again. As a result, on everything around, whatever in the room he touched, he had left his fingerprints there. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The woman has been very clever. Deliberately, she had taken out her cigarette because she never wanted to leave her own fingerprints. So when she took out the cigarette, she had actually conveyed to him that he should offer the lighter. And she knew that the moment he offered, he would remove his gloves. And the robbery would be carried out by him. So his fingerprints would be left there on the safe. So he would be caught. Now you see that when all this he had been doing, the lady had been standing aside. She did not come closer to the safe. She had been so conscious because she never wanted to leave her fingerprints, and she didn't. And when Horace Danby was arrested, he told the police that he had opened the safe for the lady of the house. No one was ready to believe his story. Why? Because the wife herself, a gray-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense. Because the actual landlady of the house, she had just come back from London, and she refuted that she never saw this man. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. So Horace was arrested, he was imprisoned, and he had been an assistant librarian in the prison. Anyway, he was in the prison, but he had got a job of his choice there. He was passionate about reading. If he has been doing a job in the prison library, then he would get an opportunity to read as many books as he wants. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as he was. Which profession? Robbing, stealing. And the lady tricked him. She cheated him. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. Now, this is very important. Honor among thieves, meaning the thieves, the criminals, they also have their principle. They also have they also have a code of conduct, a moral code for them. Though they are not moral at all, they become immoral when they get into thieving and crime. But the code of conduct is that they make it believe that they are not going to harm or interfere with another criminal. A thief, if he is stealing, he would steal the people, he would rob the people, but he will not rob another thief. This is the honor they maintain. Right? But here what has happened? He is angry that there is honor among thieves, but one thief has cheated another one here in the story. The woman herself was a thief and she had cheated another thief, that is Horace Danby. Horace Danby had still helped her, though he didn't know that she was a thief, but he had helped her. And lady in return, she had cheated him, being in the same profession. So this is what he means to say honor among thieves. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt anywhere?
Ma'am, how police got to know that the fingerprints are of Horace Denby?
Yes. First of all, how did police get to know? Who do you think had informed the police?
The lady.
Not the lady. Of course, the woman of the house.
Mm.
The woman of the house had informed the police that the jewels had been robbed. Okay. Then what happens? There are many evidences which might have been collected. Now here it has not been mentioned, but today, in today's time, what happens? That the fingerprints, they are collected, and then the evidences are collected through the CCTV camera. And the people who are covered in the camera, then they are searched. Then the people similar to those very figures, as many people as possible, they are collected. And then their fingerprints are matched. Suspicious characters. Now you will see that Horace Danby, he had been in prison a long time back. So he had that record of being imprisoned. So he was a suspicious character with such a record. So first of all those people who have the criminal record, first of all, their list is taken out, their fingerprints, they are matched. And when they matched, of course, they could find out that it was Horace Danby whose fingerprints were matching with the marks left on everything in the room. And there he was caught. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Any other doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We will just go through the questions. If any problem in any question, you can always discuss with me in the forum or in the next class. Right? So the next, whatever you want, you will put it in the forum, and as and when you want it, you just put it in the forum. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.